Greetings. Greetings for the Watford fans. Omar Moore here, on location in New York City. And quite frankly, Watford could have been playing in New York City tonight because this performance was shambolic. I'm talking about the 10-minute take that I will give on Watford 1, West Ham United 4 at the Vic tonight in the Premier League in Watford. And look, as far as I'm concerned, Watford could have literally been playing anywhere because the fundamentals have not changed with this team. And the fundamentals with this team are that they do not have any defensive fundamentals whatsoever. It was a shambolic performance in defense. And you would have thought that with 3 weeks since their last game, they would have learned something about how to defend. And this has got nothing to do with the COVID-19 pandemic. This has got nothing to do with only one training session in 3 weeks. The fact of the matter is that regardless of whether COVID was here or not here, the problem that has bedeviled Watford for many a century, I almost said that, many a season, has been the defending. I know that they conceded only 30 goals in the championship last season. I know that. But this board has to know that defending has got to be upgraded when you get to the Premier League. And the board has not seen fit to spend a real investment at all in defending. Reasons known only to the board. They don't want to spend on defenders. They don't want to invest in defense. Look, I know you're not going to spend a fortune. You don't have that to spend with this club. But the fact of the matter is, if you are not paying attention to defending, it is going to come back to bite you in the rear end. And that's what happened in this game against the West Ham side, who were going to always come out for revenge and for bloodlust after losing at home to Southampton just 48 hours before. On paper, this was going to be a difficult game for Watford to begin with. The fact of the matter is that they don't have their best defensive personnel out there. Although Alta did not hurt himself tonight, I thought he was quite good, but that really isn't saying a whole lot, is it? When you have a defense that just was all out to sea. And look, Alta wasn't perfect out there either, but let's just have it absolutely right. This team does not have a clue defensively. It is not got any kind of backbone defensively at all. And you would have thought that with 3 weeks off after a painful loss against a Brentford side that we should have beat, that we were going to come out and play much better defensively today against the West Ham side, as I said, who just 48 hours ago played. They played just 48 hours ago. And yet they didn't make a single hill of beans worth of difference to Watford. They did not come out defensively the way they should have. Yes, we got the goal early, which I said was going to be a very important thing. I said that in the Football Focus just yesterday, that the important thing, or actually earlier today, the important thing for Watford was to be able to score first in this game and get on off the good foot, if you will, to quote James Brown, and get out there and get on the good foot, get on the front foot, and get out there and maintain that momentum and keep pushing forward. But Watford didn't. Watford looked so nervy in defense. They looked so nervy. Didn't have a clue what they were doing. Had no clue at all. And that's especially disappointing and disturbing to me at this late stage as we get almost to the halfway point of the season for Watford, to still be this clueless in defense. It doesn't matter which manager you put in there, to have a defense like this, not know what its backside is doing, not knowing what its elbow is doing, not knowing what they're doing anywhere, is frightening. It's very disturbing. It's not a good look for this club. I am the most optimistic Watford fan there is. And I am really looking now squarely at a team that looks like it's heading to the championship. And I hope I'm wrong. I don't think they're going to go down. I think they're still going to finish well enough, not only to stay up, but finish comfortably up the table, in mid-table. I stand by that, but my goodness, after what we've seen throughout the season, realistically, I really have to kind of readjust the lenses that I'm wearing, because there is no question about it. This team is right now, flirting and dancing with the championship. It's absolutely strictly come dancing as far as the championship is concerned for Watford, because that is what they're doing. They are dancing with the championship right now. And there's absolutely no doubt about it. I think any Watford fan who's worth his or her or their salt can see that this team is not long for this Premier League the way they're playing now. But again, I will say this, all is not lost. Even at this point, there is still time for Watford to turn this around. And the way they're going to have to turn this around is by getting defensive fundamentals. If you don't have the fundamentals defensively, you aren't going to be much of anything. And Watford still have not got that right yet. That's got nothing to do with the manager. It's got nothing to do with them. Ranieri has tried to get the balance right in each area of the pitch. He's tried that. They did that pretty well against Chelsea, despite their defeat against them. Played very well. They outplayed Chelsea in that game. They played well enough against Manchester City, especially in the second half. They played a lot better. You know, they restricted Man City to 3 goals at the Vic. That is a minor miracle. This is not about the manager. The manager has made them a competent team, competent enough that they had a sense of balance in the 3 areas of the pitch before, again, the stupid defensive mistakes let us down. That is not the manager making those mistakes. That's the players. And that's not just the players, it's the board. The board did not do its job. This was the opportunity, and it's coming back to haunt Watford and haunt the fans. And the reality is that these goals tonight against West Ham were inexcusable after Emmanuel Dennis scored, I think, his 8th or 9th Premier League goal of the season, I forget which, to give us an early lead, which is, again, what I said earlier, is very important for us. We had to get the lead in this game, but we absolutely threw it away. 25 minutes later, we were down 2 goals to 1. And 2 goals in 2.5 minutes is just unacceptable. And that's what we saw tonight. You know, goals that go through goalkeepers, balls that fly through goalkeepers, Messina ducking under the ball. I mean, he did an imitation of Troost-Ekong. I guess this thing is a contagious situation as well. I mean, I'm sorry to put it like that because there's nothing, I don't want to compare this to anything that's going on in the real world that's very, very serious. Because there's a lot of things happening with this COVID-19 virus. But there's another kind of contagion going on with this Watford defense. How are you ducking underneath a ball? It's happened again. And this is a real problem for us. There is a team out there now, fellow Watford fans, that is short on confidence, short on ideas, short on any kind of mentality to deal with the Premier League. This defensive team simply does not have the rigors to deal with the Premier League. And that's what I've come to. This set of players has not got the defensive rigors, the defensive nous to deal with the Premier League. They just don't. It's obvious. We have not had a clean sheet this season. 17 games played, no clean sheets. I really would like to know, fellow Watford fans, the last time a team in the Premier League went the entire season without keeping a clean sheet and stayed in the Premier League. I would like to find that statistic if that's ever happened. I'm not sure that has ever happened because I am very concerned now. These 2 goals that were conceded in that first half were way too easy. You can't have Benrahma taking that shot and that's just unbelievable. And then I think the goal earlier than that from Kufal or Souček, I forget which one of them, scored to equalize the game before Benrahma's shot made it 2-1 West Ham. And that was game over for West Ham. Unbelievable. Look around twice in 2.5 minutes. Space of 2 minutes plus, they're down 2-1. And that is down to a goalkeeper who is not competent enough, in my view, to be in the Premier League. It's down to a defense that doesn't know what it's doing. And it's down to the fact that there's no defensive cohesion at all. And there's playing so deep and not making defensive plays when you have to. And that's what happened with the third goal for West Ham in the second half when West Ham had just had a goal chalked off because of a foul on Dennis. And Dennis was really the liveliest player Watford had today, but he was tired because he's doing a lot of this by himself, quite frankly. He's chasing after everything. He's going at both ends of the pitch. Dennis is a complete player for me, but he deserves better than this. He deserves a team around him that's going to fight and scrap. Sissoko, of course, does that every week. But outside of 2 or 3 players, you can't have it so that the rest of the team is running around like nervous Nellies. It's not good enough for us. It's not good enough. And the fact of the matter is that third goal was absolutely sinful. We just had their goal chalked off that kept it at 2-1 because of the foul on Dennis. and Bowen's foul on Dennis made it a 2-1 game instead of a 3-1 game. And within 3 minutes of that, Uroš Kučka, who came in to play right back because Femenia got injured, um, made a total pig's ear out of something that is so fundamental and obvious for any defender. You don't have to be an expert at right back to know that when you've got a ball in your box that's come in, you don't chest it back to your goalkeeper in high traffic with Jared Bowen sniffing around right behind you in the box, right around the box. You can't do that in the Premier League. Maybe in the Championship you might get away with that, but this is the Premier League. You can't do that. And as a result, chesting it back to Backman, you've now forced Backman, who, again, I don't think is a very good goalkeeper for the Premier League. He's just not. I mean, I know that it's going to come across negatively, but that's a fact. Backman does not have the goalkeeping nous to deal with the Premier League. He just doesn't. And you now have put your goalkeeper in a situation where he's got to come for that ball. And now that Jared Bowen is in the area, you are now going to risk fouling him to get that ball. And that's not Backman's fault in that instance. That is Uroš Kučka's fault. Kučka, all you have to do there, all he has to do is clear the ball into touch, kick it into the stands, head it into the stands. The worst that happens is a set piece. Your defense tries to reorganize from that, but you don't put your goalkeeper in danger by trying to chest the ball back to him in a situation where you've got a West Ham player in the box. You just don't do that. You just don't do that. You are taught defense 101 is to kick the ball out, kick it out into the stands, head it out into the stands, kick it into touch. Then there's no way that happens. There's no way that penalty takes place. But again, we see these defensive mistakes. And this is because you don't have a good enough defense. These players are not good enough right now. And I don't want to hear anything about Ranieri. Ranieri is not the problem here. I think Watford fans will be really have to be honest with themselves here. Ranieri is not the reason why we're in this problem that we're in. It's the defense. These players don't have a clue defending. And the board has once again exposed itself here with this defensive unit, which is not good enough. Francisco Sirialta was good, as good as he could be after being out for over 2.5 months. He's as good as he could be in this game. But again, he wasn't perfect either. No one is. But this defending has to be near perfect now to keep a clean sheet, because that's the way I think we're going. I think no matter who we are playing here, we do not have the defensive confidence. And speaking of which, the fourth goal, oh my goodness me, it was 4-1, and it didn't have to be 4-1. Again, Kučka, the culprit for that fourth goal. You do not leave a man in the box like that. He ran from the man he was marking and ran to try to help on the cross from Bowen. And Bowen said, "Thank you very much. I'll pass it to the man you just left." And the man that Kučka left is the man that scored the fourth goal. And as a result of that, it's a 4-1 defeat instead of a 3-1 defeat. 3-1 is rough enough, but our goal difference is going to obviously factor in here as we fight to survive in the Premier League. And to ship 4 goals against the West Ham side that played just 24 for 48 hours before, it's just not good enough. I mean, obviously, I'm not saying anything that you don't know as you watch this, but what I am very concerned about now is the fragility of this team defensively. They just don't have the defensive fundamentals. And if I were Ranieri, I would be putting them out there between now and the new year, in the next couple of days, and you drill nothing but defense to them. 90% of your training now has got to be on defensive fundamentals. It just has to be. Defensive fundamentals in the Premier League are essential if you want to survive in it. And if you make these silly mistakes like this, the one that Kučka made in this game, Messina ducking out from under the ball, I mean, it's not a bomb, it's not a rocket, it's not a boulder. It is a ball. You have to head it. You have to clear it into the stands. You do not chest the ball down in your 6-yard box, in your 18-yard box with opposition players sniffing around you. That is no material for the Premier League. And, as a result, we're sitting here now with what, for me, quite frankly, I found this to be a profoundly disturbing performance. It was very poor indeed. And I expected them to play a lot better against West Ham than this. I thought they'd be raring to go. One training session or no, I thought Watford were raring to go. I thought they would be. I said that they would need to score first, but then they just completely turned off. They just completely went back to the defensive bad habits that they have had all season long. Cisco, same thing. This season, bad habits defensively. Truce Kong. I can name all the players. I don't have to single them all out because you know who the players are. It's the whole team mindset. There's only a few players that track back and really defend with any integrity. Sissoko did that today. Defended with integrity. Sir Alta for the most part defended with integrity. But you listen. This back line is not going to keep us in the Premier League. Not like this. And this board is going to have to deliver in January. I don't think anybody who's a Watford fan can say otherwise. We're not going to bring in 18 players, but we need to bring in 3 or 4 who are going to have a clue about how to defend. And I think we're going to need to put some pressure on Backman's position too. We've got Okoye, who's going to be our number one next season. That we need to have someone else. I mean, can Rob Elliott come in and do a better job? I mean, I think he could. He's a veteran goalkeeper, but I think we're going to need someone to really threaten the position of Daniel Backman now, because Backman is not an assertive goalkeeper. And to think that he is the number one for Austria, well, I mean, I'm sure he performs very well there, and I've seen him perform very well for Austria. But for Watford, he looks like a man that's got no confidence in goal, no confidence at all. I don't know what else to say about the goalkeeping, but that situation needs to be dealt with. Ben Foster, he could be back perhaps as soon as the middle of January and not late January. From what Watford is saying, he is ahead of schedule. So it's my opinion that he may be back in the next 3 weeks. He could be back as soon as 3 weeks from now. Or maybe sooner than that. I don't know. I'm just speculating here. But the fact that Ben Foster is ahead of schedule is a modicum of good news. Now, look, Ben Foster's not the world's best goalkeeper right now either, but he's still better than Backman is, I think. And all my criticisms of Ben Foster aside, Ben Foster has command of that goal. Even if he makes mistakes, which he will do, he has much more assertiveness about him. He's got more of a leadership quality about him in that goal. And if you don't have a leader in the goal, you don't have anything at all in that team, because you're only as good as your defense and your goalkeeper. And we've already shown how bad we are today based on those two things. And that fourth goal was so easy. It was so easy. We made it easy for West Ham today. Let's be honest. We made it so easy for them. That fourth goal epitomized how easy it was. You do not leave your man in the box. You do not leave your man in the box. Under any circumstances, you run away from your man and leave him open, and you don't know who's covering. You only leave your man if you've got someone covering, so that you can go and help with the inbounds cross, with the inbounds pass. But Kuchka, I just didn't see what he was doing there. Again, that goal's on him too. You cannot leave that man. And Bowen said, thank you very much. And that was an easy, easy goal, passing it into the back of the net for the goal scorer who scored it there. I think it's Vlasic. Vlasic scored that goal at the end for West Ham. That was just a needless, unnecessary fourth goal. But that was a fourth headache for us because we allowed that to happen. And when you've got no defensive nous, you've got no defensive fundamentals, you've got no defensive intensity, you've got no defensive mentality, you're going to lose a game like this 4-1. Again, our record against West Ham at the Vic has been shambolic lately anyway in the Premier League. We lost 4-1 tonight. The last season that we were in the Premier League prior to this in season 19-20, we lost 3-1 at home to them at the Vic. We did this again in the season before that, the 2018-19 season, when we were having a really good season in the Premier League, and we needed to win this game against West Ham, win the game then against West Ham to finish in the top 10, and we didn't. We got beat 4-1 that day, and I was at that game. And Hollebass got a red card, and it got rescinded. And as I've said before, you know what happened a few days later in the FA Cup final when he got to play there against Manchester City. It was not a good day. But Watford have lost a lot of games at home to West Ham in the Premier League lately. The last time we beat West Ham at the Vic in the Premier League was all the way back in November of 2017, and your goal scorers that day in a 2-0 win were Will Hughes and Richarlison. Those were your two goal scorers. Neither of them are with Watford, and our defense was a whole lot better because we actually kept a clean sheet. Who knew? When are we going to get a clean sheet here, Watford fans? When do you think we're going to keep a clean sheet this season? Against which opposition? Because next it's Tottenham Hotspur. And my goodness me, we can't afford to start the brand new year the way we've ended this one. This has been the Orns 10-minute plus take. I'm Omar Moore. Happy New Year to everybody. And let's hope that Watford start the new year with something different and actually something better than what we've seen to end this 2021 portion of the season.